Welcome friends, welcome back to the kitchen, welcome back to Sunday morning in the old cookbook show. Today we're going to do a recipe out of this little cookbook from 1943 called Recipes for Today. And you can tell by the cover, it's a very patriotic wartime cookbook. Quite a bit of the beginning of the cookbook is totally geared towards wartime cooking, making do with what you have, making substitutions, and supporting the war effort by doing with less than you normally would. And today we're going to do a recipe that I think is going to be kind of interesting. It is a mock sausage patty. So this is a recipe that I initially thought I would do, and then I walked away from for a long time because I couldn't find one of the main ingredients, and those are grape nuts. Now, I'm normally the kind of person who says if I can't get an ingredient at the 4 or 5 grocery stores that I normally go to, or in that area that I normally travel in a week, make it very easy for myself to stop by and get something, I walk right past it. But this little cookbook had 4 or 5 recipes that used grape nuts, and I was amazed that I couldn't find them. So I ended up getting this box of grape nuts from the UK. They are actually made in Minnesota, but they seem to be only available in the UK. So in order to get the most out of that ridiculously expensive box of grape nuts, we'll be doing 4 or 5 recipes over the next little while that use grape nuts. Now, in this pot are lentils. The main ingredient in this is actually the lentils. And the recipe told me to soak a cup of lentils overnight and then to cook them until they're soft, at which point I'm supposed to force them through a sieve. But first I need to drain them because I need to make up to a 1/4 cup of liquid. And if I need to add anything to this, I'm going to put in some milk. And I don't think, let me get a measuring cup. I don't think I'm going to have to add any liquid. So, of course, this is 2021, and we have blenders, stick blenders, food processors, that sort of thing. I would stick this in a food processor or use a stick blender and blend it because this is going to take an awfully long time to force it through a sieve. Although I might have chosen a sieve that's too fine to force it through. Let me see how far I get before I run out of patience and just grab the stick blender. Okay, I actually made it all the way through. So, scrape off what's left on the bottom of the sieve. Okay, put that away. Now, I ended up with 1/3 cup of liquid, so I'm going to just dribble out a little bit. That leaves me with a 1/4 cup. It says to add milk to bring it up to a 1/4 cup. I guess it depends on how long you boiled the lentils for, if you need to add a little bit of milk. This is not a vegan recipe, but it could very easily be made into a vegan recipe if you don't add the milk or the eggs that I'm going to add. There's substitutes out there for those 2 items that would work in this really, really well, I think. So, it says to put these in order. I put the liquid back in. A cup of grape nuts. And in they go. Next in, minced onion. And so that's a really, really finely minced onion. Calls for salt, of course, it's a sausage. Sausage would have salt. And it calls for sage, and a range of amount of sage. This lends me to believe that it is a breakfast sausage, or a breakfast sausage substitute. I would add a bunch of other spices that I really like in breakfast sausages if I was making this not according to the recipe. Or just go ahead and use poultry seasoning. poultry seasoning has all of the flavors that I imagine you would want to have in this. Next up, a couple of eggs. And I'm supposed to beat those before I put them in. I gotta tell you, just the addition of that sage and the onion already makes this smell like some really good sausage. Now, I'm supposed to mix this thoroughly. Oh, a tablespoon of melted fat. Okay, I'm supposed to put in a tablespoon of melted fat. Because these are supposed to be sausage patties and I'm not vegan or vegetarian, I'm going to use bacon drippings. Because I have bacon drippings and I'm going to put that in. Of course, use any fat that you like or that suits your dietary needs. So I'm going to mix this thoroughly, and then it says to let it stand for half an hour before we turn it into patties. Okay, this mixture has really stiffened up in the half hour that it's been here. It's still, in my mind, maybe a little bit wet, but it's pretty stiff. Now it says to make them into patties a ½ inch thick, and then dip them in flour. And I'm going to set these aside on this tray until I am ready to fry them. Now, I've just made up 4 patties to start with. Let's see how they go. It says to fry them in bacon fat or bacon drippings or another fat. Now, I have bacon drippings, so that's what I'm going to use. I've got a stainless steel pan here on sort of medium-high heat and put in a good dollop of bacon drippings. Okay, that's good and hot. And let's put the patties in. And let's flip them over and see what they look like. Ooh. Hey, Jules.
Hey, Glenn. Hey, friends. Sausage.
Get a fork.
Okay.
Let's see how this goes. I mean, they look like sausage patties.
They are the correct brown color.
Mm-hmm.
And are they your favorite breakfast sausage flavors?
Yes. Yes, for the most part. I only put in the sage because that's what it asked for, but you could easily dress it up with all of the other flavors.
A little bit hot. Woo! More Pam. It's a dry sausage.
Yeah. The flavor's really good, though. I think... What would you do? What would you do? They're not as juicy.
No.
I'd put more onion in, maybe.
Yeah. They are a little flaky. Like when you pick them up, like they're a little...
They are a make-do sausage. But if you were vegan or vegetarian, and you could swap out the egg, and I didn't use the milk that was in the recipe because I didn't need the extra liquid. Swap out the egg, and obviously don't fry it in bacon fat. Obviously don't fry it in bacon fat. I would say that this is, from a flavor standpoint and a nutritional standpoint. I mean, the Grape-Nuts bring a lot of nutrition. So do the lentils, for that matter.
I guess, like a thinner version with an egg on toast kind of thing, or some tomato. Mm-hmm. I think it's worth experimenting with.
Yeah, I'm going to enjoy that with an egg tonight. Definitely going to enjoy that with an egg. I'm surprised. I didn't think they would be this good. But there you have it.
The biggest challenge?
Is the texture.
Getting hold of some Grape-Nuts.
Oh, Grape-Nuts. That's true. Yes. The Grape-Nuts are the hardest part of this whole thing. But I'm sure that there's other cereals that you could put in that would work. Any of those brand cereals would work, I think.
I don't know. Grape-Nuts has a very unique flavor in comparison. I don't know. Give it a try. What do we know?
I'd give it a try. Anyway, strangely good. Thanks for stopping by. See you again soon.